I think that looks great. No idea how to make a video, but I do know how to point a camera at myself, so we're gonna go from there. Out here in Austin, Texas, on a Wednesday, people are playing soccer. The vibes are nice. My plan was to do some yoga and generally yap about what is on my mind. Got the blanket, got the visuals. So, what is on my mind? Well, I need to make a connection with people before I lose my mind. That's the first one. Alright. If I set the precedent that I'll be talking the whole time, one may get confused when I simply stop talking for a moment. I love people. I think that the planet is fascinating. People are so interesting. There's like so many different personalities and like types of people and places that people came from that shape their perspective and like view on the world and whatnot. I'm not entirely sure how I want this video to go. I know the main thought of it was to record doing yoga for the vibes, but also for like the general content. I really like health, fitness, and nutrition, so I'm kind of doing something that I would do normally. I think that stretching is really important, and I think it's important to make a point of it. I don't see enough people stretching, just like in general. I might not be in an environment conducive to stretching, but as often as I stretch, I just don't see people stretching that much. And if it hurts me just to exist, right, while stretching, like I'm still sore and tight, and I stretch, I wonder how everybody else is doing. I think they might just be needing a stretch. I want to try backing it up a little bit. I have full control over my camera. I can do anything I want. And I want to back it up. Sorry if this is going crazy on the camera. I'd make it a little taller. Yeah, something like that. It's gonna hit one of these. I just want to say something, just so I have something that I'm saying. I think I'm like just a boy. hear a lot of complaints about men. Let me start from that angle. That might make me sound a little more normal. I hear a lot of complaints about men. And if you actually just listen, and I'm not trying to make a point, and I'm also not trying to come across as like I know what I'm talking about, but I'm just saying, if you actually listen to the complaints that are said and just hear them out, there's some consistencies, right? So I hear a lot of complaints about men, and if you hear the complaints out and listen to what they're saying, there's a series of consistencies, of consistent problems that are very similar. I don't know if this is true. There don't tend to be as many complaints about women. It's not as popular, but it is a popular series to complain about men. And I think part of it is because the audience must mostly be women. But I agree with some of the points. As somebody who listens, a child of the internet. Let's make some more precedences. Child of the internet. iPad kid. Nintendo DS. Guitar Hero. Rock Band. TikTok, iFunny, Vine, Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube. Anyway, so I hear a lot of stuff. It's also funny because not a lot of people, not everybody goes on the internet. As a child of the internet, you think that everybody would go on the internet. You'd be very surprised to find out in real life that not everybody goes on the internet at all. Mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. So there's a lot of people that ironically know a lot of stuff, and there's also a lot of people that unironically don't know a lot of stuff. Bar. So interacting with someone who unironically doesn't know things because they're not connected, and I'm not saying that that's wrong, but because they're more person-centric. I feel like those are the type of guys that are generally complained about. Maybe not. It doesn't have to be. I was just thinking out loud. Really good to work on your hips. I've actually been thinking about my hips a lot lately in terms of functionality. One of the most common complaints when you get older is hip pain, shoulder pain. If those are the most common, and I'm just saying they're the most common, knee problems, let's start thinking about them early. All right, so let's get our hips moving. Somehow, some way, and that's, I'm on camera, I'm trying to show you that I don't know what I'm doing. I have ideas, I work out, so I have some experience in what has helped me when I stretch, helped me down the road, or because I didn't stretch, gotten injured for, so I have a general thing that I do, but more or less, activity is just the key. Just getting out there and doing anything is key. Just get connected. Think about your body. But yeah, moving your hips has been really helpful. So I highly recommend. It's also really difficult. It's not a natural movement. So I just popped my back. I hope that picked up. So I'm just gonna be moving my hips around while I continue to think. They say trauma is stored in the hip. Let's find it. No. Where is it? Your child of the internet. Get that. Okay. obsessed with their job exclusively. Self-thinking, not empathetic towards another person's feelings. Single-mindedly interested in external things, money, cars, women. Not thinking of women as human beings. I've seen that one. But that also translates to, like, just in general, I think being a man is hard, you should know. Being a man is difficult. Because it doesn't matter, I don't have to justify this. If you think being a woman is hard, being a man is also hard, equally and oppositely. And it's prone to a lot of corruption. Yeah, if you think being a woman is hard, being a man is also hard. I'm just explaining this from the perspective of a man, and just off the top. There's nobody around. I got no agenda here. This is what I think about all the time. I think about too often. It fills up my mind. There's a lot of pressures, and it's easy to become corrupted as a man into things that don't actually serve you. Other than on the surface, which does push me into the realm of, like, I think part of the problem could be America. Like, America creates these monsters across the board due to corruption, but it's because the sole center, the sole idea is not spiritual, it's not external serving, it's self-serving. It's survival for food, lust, things. Like, nobody's trying to find their purpose, they're trying to make as much money as possible and escape the trenches, right? It's like the angle is wrong, but because of that societal pressure, men are easily corrupted. I think a lot of women have been corrupted as well, mostly by Disney. This video is eating, sorry. Is that cool to say? I don't know. No rules, you can do whatever I want. These are just off the top thoughts, right? It's like I know that some of my habits are strange, but at some point it's like no one's stopping me necessarily, and or it also makes sense. So it's like, am I wrong? For the most part, I think the world is fucking even the weird part. I was driving into this park earlier, just like a minute ago, and my biggest, like, existential thing is homelessness. It is boggling to see. It is actually really strange to me. It's a little hot, but I guess I'm the man with the camera in the middle of the park. Homelessness gets to me. I don't understand it. Mostly because I can see how easy it is to become homeless. I've been homeless. By choice. But what made me come to that choice was, like, oppression. And once you experience homelessness, and let's say I had experienced bougie homelessness, like, let me not pretend like I've been there too, right? People have it really fucking bad. I see how easy it is to become homeless. It's like you're only on a relatively small line, a thin bottom, before it's like, this is now your reality. And how do you escape from that is something terrifying. And a lot of the people in Austin that are homeless are like homies. It's like, bro, I've seen you. Like, oh my god, you know what I mean? I'm being a little dramatic, but it's like, they're not like monsters or something, you know? But occasionally you also do come across a monster. Like, just somebody that's just like boggling, right? And that is also existential because it's like, that's a human being actually see what I'm seeing, if you actually see what I'm seeing, it's not as dramatic as I'm saying, but these are thoughts. You're looking at someone that's like dancing on the side of the road. It's 100 degrees outside. Their face is like leathery. They're not looking at anything in particular. They're just like looking around, and they're just like moving around. It's like, what gets somebody to that point? And is it an act? Like, I've also talked to them before, and they're like, oh hey, like they kind of bounce back in or whatever. And I'm like, it blows my mind the possibilities. I was gonna try and keep this video to 10 minutes. I'm not sure where I'm at right now. Let's double check. Does it say? It just says recording 16 minutes. So we're at the 16-minute mark. Super bummer also, I forgot to hit record on the mic. Bummer. The kind of stuff that drives one insane. No, I don't mind. We'll start over. We can start over. I'm out at Zilker today. I wanted to come out and do some yoga and film general yoga. I have some like stretching suggestions and whatnot. I also wanted to just set the vibe. Maybe somebody's at home on their iPhone watching a bed in YouTube and just want to watch like a chill video. Here's some Austin vibes. Feel free to stretch along with me if you want. I got some thoughts on my mind I generally wanted to talk about. A little yoga and yap, if you will. I don't know what this was about, but it felt like something cool to do. I love people. I think people are super fascinating. There's so many different types of people. I came from a relatively small town where I just went to school. I had like my neighborhood friends, and to a middle school, to a high school, changing cities. Some people never see more than just their small town and want to know about other things. They want to know about the world. And I've seen a lot of stuff. I know there's a lot more for me to see, but I've seen a lot of stuff. And I can tell you that it is super fascinating. People. There's so many different personality types. If I don't set the precedent of at least pausing every now and then, you might think that I might talk the whole time. And I might stop to think for a second. If you're still stretching, I'm also still stretching. Sometimes you just gotta like sit in it. A stretch isn't really like an activity, it's almost like a posture. I kind of made that up, but it sounded cool in my mind. There seems to be a lot of complaints about men. And a lot of the complaints are relatively consistent. I just wanted to address that real quick. I am a child of the internet. iPad kid. Surprising. I know. Nintendo DS, Game Boy, Wii, whatever. Child of the internet. So I've heard a lot of things. I guess I'm switching sides. I should switch sides. And a lot of the complaints that are made are pretty consistent about men. And I think that if you hear the complaints out, right? Like, it's a common thing to be complained about, all right? Maybe there's a reason. Let's start with that. Thinking as a boy. Maybe there's a reason that it's so common. So I was like, I'm gonna just try and hear, okay, what is it they have to say? Like, they're angry, I get it, but what is it they're angry about? Let's hear them out. and there's some consistent complaints to be made about men. Some of them are justified, some of them are not. But I hear you out. I hear you out anyway. Some of them are fundamental. I feel like a lot of people, as a man, let me speak as a man here real quick. I definitely was not born with empathy. That's not a concept that I learned innately. Surprisingly, it actually took like a lesson, like an experience to discover empathy. And I feel like that's a baseline understanding for men, whereas women tend to be born innately emotional, right? So when I was born, I was learning like facial cues, language. I'm trying to think of something that like just a boy would learn. And because I understand that women would also be learning those things as well. But somewhere along the road, they like developed empathy just like innately or much earlier, I'm not sure. But it took so long for me to actually have concrete proof, and I'm talking not just theories, but like a concrete proof that people also experience emotions. I'm just off the top, right? No agenda here. These are just things I think about. I'm just sitting in a park right now doing yoga. So if it sounds like a point, maybe I'm right, or maybe I'm onto something, but this is just stuff that I think about kind of on the daily. Because I want to be like a good person, right? And it's like, feedback is feedback, so it's like, if the only one out there is complaints, well, at least listen to the complaints. Other than that, you might be doing pretty good. So I just try and hear the complaints out. I want to be a good person. Some of the complaints, though, are fundamental. I think everybody is capable of great good and great evil at the same time. Nobody is born good or bad. They're born with the capability of goodness and badness. And environment sort of brings out people's tendencies. And I think where I was trying to go with that is that I think like America like corrupts people. I think it has a high tendency to exacerbate problems, right? Like if we lived in a society where these problems that we're facing were more well discussed. They're not well discussed. Maybe we're getting there. Maybe it's not all bad. Maybe we're actually just like developing. All right, video over. The world is good. The world is good. We're just developing as a nation. That's a cool thought. That's a very hopeful thought. You know, like, what if we're just developing? Like, what if we're just early? Because it actually is pretty nice. Like, I'm in the middle of a park for free, safely, on my own, doing some yoga, comfortable around my community, enough to record myself publicly and like make eye contact with people, and like there wasn't anybody there, but just in general, just kind of like, what's up, or whatever. Yeah, let's go with optimism. Let's end on an optimistic note. I wanted to keep these videos to about 10 minutes, like rants, kind of a 10-minute thought. We're at the 24-minute mark, so I got like 2 more minutes, maybe 3. 10-minute video of what's on my mind of the day. Just a quick 10. A little stretch along. Just rocking vibes, really. I don't know how comfortable it comes across on camera to have the talker pause and slip into the scene of just the scene. I think I wanted the main focus of the video to kind of just be on vibes more than content. But if
I'm gonna watch it back, and if it like, I'll develop it over time, is kind of the thought. But stretching is super important. I think I stretch as often as one could. I don't want to say could, because I bet you could stretch more than me, but I definitely stretch way more often than the average non-stretcher. And I think it's really important to do. I think it'll help you out later in life. I also think it's important to get your thoughts off the top of your head. More structure to come. I guess I'm just trying to say that this is like, I'm just attempting to get to where I want to be. But in order to get where I want to be, I'm going to have to try a few things and get comfortable. So more structure to come, and vibes and whatnot. I'm going to hang up now. Peace. Thank you.